Hi, Jewish Mom. It's been a long time since I made a pep talk. I was away visiting my family in North America, and so it's really good to be back making this pep talk. So I want to tell you about kind of an interesting experience I had in Canada. So my husband's family, my mother-in-law has a cottage on a lake, and it's a very, very remote uh, place where there's no phone lines, there's no phone service, and it's very, very hard to. There actually is a way to speak on a cell phone, but it's expensive, and you have to kind of stand up on like a stump somewhere out in the middle of the woods to get phone reception, and there's no internet, of course. So basically, when I got there. For the first few days, I was getting ready for Shabbat. I was doing a lot of cooking and working in the kitchen. And so I was listening for hours a day to Canadian radio. I think it's called the CBC. I was listening to like Canadian public radio, and I heard something interesting in the Canadian radio. So when I first got there, it was quite hot. And it was very hot actually, and so on the Canadian news, they kept on saying, today is it is in Kingston, which I guess it was a city about an hour and a half away from the cottage. In Kingston, today it is 32 degrees. 32 degrees is, let's say, somewhere in the high 90s, somewhere in the mid 90s, but it's going to feel like 41. Humidex. They say the humidex is 41. Humidex is if you take the index of the humidity and join it up with the heat, then it's going to be 41. It's going to be like 105 degrees. I'm making this up, but basically what they say is in the Canadian, like every time they tell you how hot it's going to be, they say today it's going to be 95 degrees, but with the humidex it's going to feel like 105. And they did this over and over, and I just thought this is so cruel. Like, because it's bad enough that it's 95 degrees. It's bad enough, okay? But then to say, but with the humidex, it's going to feel like 105, right? And I realized that's what makes it feel so much hotter. It makes it feel so much hotter. Like it's like, I'd be hot enough knowing it's 95 degrees, but being like, no, it's actually 105, right? It was kind of like they kind of blow up what's the real temperature and be like, what's actually going to feel like way, way, way worse. And it made the weather so much worse and like in Israel, I like prefer that in Israel, it's true in Israel we don't have so much of an issue with humidity, at least in Jerusalem, but I like in Israel, even in humid areas, they just say how hot it is. They don't add on, and with the humidity it's going to be, well, today it's going to be 100 degrees, but with the humidity it's 120. Like, it's so terrible. It's like makes it so much worse psychologically. Okay, so when I was there, when I was at the when I was there, when I was in America visiting, my family and my husband's family, I had a little bit of an issue with one of my relatives. And I'm going to say it's one of my cousins. It's not actually true, um, but um, but I was having an issue with one of my cousins, a cousin that I'm very close to. And I felt like my cousin wasn't being as nice to me as she usually is. And this is the cousin like I really love, and it was kind of hurtful to me that the cousin I felt was kind of being distant and kind of grouchy with me. Okay, so I found myself kind of getting upset about it and kind of thinking, thinking all sorts of thoughts about my cousin and thinking, my cousin used to like me more, but now this cousin likes that relative so much more. And now this cousin likes her husband so much more than me. And now that my cousin is a mother, she likes her kids so much that now she doesn't have any room in her heart for me. And my cousin, maybe she heard something about me. Maybe she thinks that I said something about her. Maybe, there's, rumors going around about how something I did that I didn't do. And I made up like this whole like world in my head about why my cousin doesn't like me anymore. Um, and, um, and really this actually like, and I really kind of like took up like emotionally quite a bit of my trip was thinking about how my cousin doesn't like me anymore and why. right? And I've realized, like, on a when I was thinking about this Humidex thing and how cruel this Humidex thing, I realized that I was doing the same thing in my mind. You know, it's like, what's the fact of the matter? The fact of the matter is my cousin is acting grouchy with me. Okay. So there could be many reasons for that, but like I could stop there. Instead of that, I go on this whole Humidex thing, right? You know, the fact of the matter is it is 95 degrees, period. Okay? But what my mind did, mine blew it up with all sorts of humidity, like, and then, she doesn't really like you anymore, and now she's a mother, and now she's more busy with her kids and with her husband, doesn't have any room for you in her heart, and likes her, likes that other relative more than you, and she, maybe she heard something about you, maybe she thinks you said something about her, maybe you didn't, and maybe your relationship will never, ever recover. I was getting on this whole humidity thing, and the truth was it was 95 degrees, and I was making in my head like 105 degrees, right? I was adding this whole crazy humidex there, okay? And so so it actually helped me to kind of think, no, okay, my cousin is being grouchy. Just leave out the humidex. Just get rid of the humidex. My cousin is feeling grouchy. Just go back there to the simple way of doing things. Okay, just like that. This approach, actually, it's something called this kind of getting rid of the humidex. This is what, if you've ever heard of something called innate health, this is what innate health tries to do. It tries to take away all the thoughts we have about our thoughts. Just say you're grouchy, you're angry, you're in a bad mood, you're whatever, having a hard day. Leave it there. Don't go with all the thoughts of what are like in innate health. What they teach us is that the problems that we have are our thoughts about our thoughts, right? We go crazy about thinking about our thoughts, like, well, I shouldn't be thinking this, and why am I thinking this? And I'm thinking this because I suffer from anxiety and depression and all these problems, and I will never get better, and I'm going crazy, and everyone's driving me crazy, and it will never get better, and da-da. No, if we can just leave it and take off the this and just have the thought. Just have the thought, okay, I'm grouchy. Okay, I'm angry. Okay, I'm having a difficult day. And just leave it at that. Okay? So, on that note, I just want, in conclusion, just want to say, I was in Canada, and I just heard that the way that they give the weather in Canada is they add something called the humidex. When they tell you how hot it's going to be, they say it's going to be 95 degrees, and they say, but in the humidex, it's going to feel like 105. So in our lives, we do this also. We add on to like our feelings and the things that we're feeling, the things that we're experiencing. Then we have all these thoughts about the things that we're experiencing and all the things that, and just to tell you in the end, like at the end, my cousin actually ended up being much, and like for the last few days of my time with her, she actually ended up being much nicer. I don't know what she was going through, but it really actually had nothing to do with me. It really had nothing to do with me and all the crazy things I'd been thinking. We ended up having a really nice visit at the end. So I wasted all my time on all that humidex. So I just want to bless you. Let's just keep the humidex out of it. Just think your thoughts and just live your life without all the things that we're thinking about the things that we're thinking. Okay, I want to bless all of you, Dushman. So with a meaningful 9 days.